The man accused of attacking House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's husband, Paul, with a hammer was formally charged Monday. David DePape faces federal counts of assault on the immediate family member of a federal official and attempted kidnapping of a federal official. The 42-year-old suspect is scheduled to be arraigned in court in San Francisco on Tuesday afternoon. CBS News has learned he broke into the couple's San Francisco home early Friday morning. He shouted at Paul Pelosi, "Where is Nancy? Where is Nancy?" before assaulting him. Speaker Pelosi was in Washington at the time. Investigators say the suspect planned to keep her husband tied up until the speaker got home. San Francisco's district attorney gave an update on the investigation Monday afternoon.
What we also have learned is that the defendant brought to the location of the Pelosi residence a second hammer, as well as zip ties, rope, and a roll of tape. What is clear based on the evidence that we have thus far is that this House and the Speaker herself were specifically targets of the defendant.
CBS News national correspondent Jonathan Vigliotti joins us from San Francisco. Jonathan, police say it was not a, quote, random act. What else are they saying?
Yeah, good evening to you, John. Federal officials essentially describe a man driven by political extremism. According to that affidavit, when he arrived here, the suspect early Friday morning at the scene, he had that backpack with him. You heard the district attorney detail what was inside, including those two hammers, the tape, rope, even rubber gloves. According to investigators, the suspect planned to hold Nancy hostage by tying her up. And investigators even detail him wanting to injure her using a hammer to her knees after talking to her. And if she answered the questions incorrectly, she would attack her, all in some twisted effort, allegedly, to send a message to other Democrats. Of course, when DePape arrived here at the scene, Nancy Pelosi, as we mentioned, was not here at the time. She was in Washington with her security detail. Paul Pelosi was home alone. We should mention through all of this, something that stood out in the affidavit was a journal that was recovered here from the scene. We do not know the contents inside that journal, but sources do tell CBS News that a list of names of other potential targets was recovered here from that scene early Friday morning.
Jonathan, did we have any idea when we might hear more about that journal? I mean, do you expect more information to kind of keep coming out, or have they done kind of what they're going to do now that they've made the charges?
Well, I think it was pretty surprising the amount of information that was in that affidavit that dropped earlier this afternoon. We did learn a lot from it. Obviously, there are still a lot of loose ends, that journal among them. That will be a question I will have if we have the opportunity to speak with federal investigators. What was inside that journal? Was that journal the source of that potential list where sources are telling us there were other possible targets? It's a great question, and one we certainly hope to get to the bottom of.
There's also been so much misinformation in social media. Twitter is fairly glowing with it. Even Elon Musk joined in with his millions of followers, winging out a conspiracy that had no basis from a source that had no credibility or negative credibility. Yeah. So what can you tell us about how all of that, are officials talking about those? How is that being processed by people who have to actually deal with serious business?
They are. And Elon Musk, just to focus on him for a second, he took over Twitter on Friday. A lot of concern over how he would handle misinformation. On Sunday, he spewed out a lot of misinformation. It was particularly a link to a conspiratorial website that alleged these two men knew each other. That was taken down pretty quickly, but not before it amassed more than 100,000 likes and retweets. As a result of that tweet, the district attorney yesterday going on the record addressing it specifically, at that point saying there was no doubt these two men did not know each other. This was very much a targeted attack. And now, of course, we have the affidavit. We know exactly what investigators say unfolded inside. Nancy Pelosi, very much the target of that attack. And it appears, according to CBS sourcing, that more people were potentially on a list that this attacker was trying to carry out.
Jonathan Vigliotti, up since very early this morning working on this story. Jonathan, we thank you so much.
Thank you.